Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame. It's Cinnamon Sugar. She up under here, chilling out, just trying to, exist. Same thing, I just got it in a ball back here. I was doing some activities earlier today, and I just wanted to make sure it was up off of me. And so to make sure that it wouldn't be in my face and all that other stuff while I was doing said activities, and no, it's not that, get your mind out of the gutter, I figured that it was going to be a situation where I was going to end up working up a sweat. So I was like, no, I need this up off of me, and I'm not even going to wear a coat. I had on long sleeves at the time, but it was a thin long sleeve shirt. But I digress. But I got the job done. I'm very happy. I'm proud of myself. And I was able to get it done quickly, despite everything that I have going on. Like, y'all, still highly stressed, trying not to be. I feel like everything gonna work out. But it's an emotional roller coaster. Oh, Lord, probably in the next week and a half, I might be able to go ahead and start telling y'all about what it's hidden for. But in the meantime, in between time, I want to talk to y'all and do a thoughts post on a couple of TV shows and a movie that I saw recently, okay? Just want to see what y'all think about them. If you've watched them and if you plan on watching them, I definitely want to know what y'all think about it. So let's go ahead and get started. So I guess I'll start with the movie first. Go and get that out of the way because I'm not sure how many of y'all are into this movie series like me. But when it first started coming out, oh, I was here for every single last one of them. I was going to the movie for every single last one of them. The only ones I didn't go to the movies for was the spinoff they just had. And, that's about it. But anyway, the movie that I'm referring to is Saw, the most recent installment of Saw, the most recent release of Saw. Yeah, I love the Saw series. John Kramer, child, please. Jigsaw, yeah, all of that. I'm here for all of it. This, I feel as though if you were one of those people who had any gripes with him because of how everything was going down and the different games that he played with people, and you just had a disdain for him, you might need to watch this because you might end up loving this. When I tell y'all, I ain't never got emotional watching a Saw series ever, at any point, ever. Like, I love gore and all that. Like, I love stuff like that. I love stuff that's supposedly scary and all of that. I love stuff like that. Saw was right up my alley. But to me, this was a good one. This was a good one. And as it got towards the end, y'all, I started tearing up. Like, wait a minute. I had to realize, like, wait, I ain't never in life teared up watching no Saw. Child, so, I mean, spoiler alert. Okay, look here. I got to talk about it. So, for those of y'all who've seen it or y'all don't plan on watching it, but, you know what I'm saying, you don't mind me talking about it. Look here, this one right here, I'm all the way here for it. The way that the games and stuff happened this time, oh, I'm here for every single last thing because all these people deserved everything that came to them. Everybody that ended up with a game, all of them deserved what was coming to them. Maybe with the exception of one person, but that, woo, child, that was sad. That was messed up. I don't want to get out of the way. But people were being taken advantage of. The love of money, the greed of it all. It is really sad how some people are when it comes to money. They don't care who they play with. They don't care about who they hurt. They don't care about the bodies that lay in the wake of it all. They just care about the money, and it's sad. That's all I'm going to say because I don't really want to spoil nobody. But in my opinion, it was good, especially given the fact that I remember what happened in all the other ones. I've seen all the other ones several times. Now, the spinoff that I was referring to, it was called Spiral, and it had Chris Rock in it. Coincidentally, and I was actually shocked that I liked it because at first when I saw it, I was like, what is this? Because they had already said that Saw finna be over with for forever. And a lot of us who live for the Saw series, we were kind of like, wait a minute, we're distraught. But the way it ended, it kind of could have stayed that way. But yeah, if you know what happened from the last installment of Saw, not the Spiral, not that, not the spinoff. If you remember what happened with the last one, right before this one that just came out, this one just came out the end of last month, and I'm finally getting around to watching it. But yeah, then you know what's going on. You know what it's heading for, because they came from out of nowhere with that, and I was like, wait a minute now, wait a minute. I'm telling, man, I got so loud. I got so loud when I saw what was going on. I was like, wait a minute. Like, once everything started coming together, I started catching on. I was like, wait a minute. But anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Anybody else watch Saw? Do y'all like the Saw series? I'm trying to watch as much horror and all that type of stuff as I can, because I have really been slacking. I love stuff like that. And like normally October and November, well, wait a minute, September and October, before and by the 31st, I try to watch all that stuff. I love watching it, you know, during this time, because it's really fall, and then it's leading up to Halloween, which I don't celebrate Halloween. I just love certain, you know, aesthetics. I love certain aspects of it. I'm not here for what it's supposed to mean and all that stuff. The way I grew up, I don't know how many of y'all grew up in this way, where Halloween was deemed to be the devil's holiday. I ain't here for evilness and all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, that's not what I celebrate, if there's anything to say about a celebration of Halloween in general. For me, while growing up, when I was younger, leading up until me, you know, graduating high school, I had a teacher, and I had worn something in the classroom, and it was a Halloween bell. Like, it was a lanyard, I guess you could say. It was like one of those little, like, you could put it around your neck, but it was a string. I'm saying a lanyard, but it wasn't that. It was just like a, I don't know why I can't, not tweed or nothing like that, but it was like round. Anyway, but it housed a little round bell that was hollowed out in the shape, and you know what I'm saying, it had like the, you know, mouth and eyes and all that stuff of a jack-o'-lantern or whatever, right? But when I would walk through the halls at school, you could hear the bell ringing and all that stuff. I loved that bell. I don't know what happened to it, but it was everything. I love stuff like that. I like witches. I like cauldrons. Like, I like the effects and things that I've seen in the movies. To me, real live witches that are not on any type of foolishness that has to do with the evil side of magic and all that stuff. I like stuff like that. Like, I believe that witches do exist, the good kind and the bad. You know what I'm saying? But it took me until my, I ain't gonna say, I mean, in my mind, maybe my 30s to realize or come to the realization that witches are real. Oh, I've always been here for the witch type of like movies and TV shows, like Salem and all that stuff. Like, almost anything that came out talking about Salem, I was here for that. Like, I don't know what that was about, but I mean, I used to watch that that TV show. That was good. Did y'all ever used to watch that? That was a good TV show. But yeah, I love stuff like that. I have a cauldron thing. I think I showed it to y'all last year. But it's like from Disney, and it represents Hocus Pocus, and I like stuff like that. Now, I don't know, like that, and this is why I said what I said a few minutes ago about me needing to, you know, or wanting to be able to do like I used to do, which was I would watch certain things like that around this time of the year. I ain't seen the most recent, you know, installment of Hocus Pocus. Like, what? A mess, right? So yeah, I like stuff like that, but I just been slacking. But like I said, I got my entire life. I loved this particular one dealing with Saw. It was really good to me. And they set it up for where, you know, child. And I had already put some of that stuff together. Like, what happened at it? Okay, so first of all, when it go off, you got to stay. Because it kind of gives Marvel in a sense, but not really, because you only got to stay for one cutscene or whatever. So it ended up being a cutscene and some stuff pop off. And I had already thought about it like halfway through this. Like, once some stuff started being revealed, I was like, well, what about this person? Because, child, ain't nobody forget about that. And then when they came back on, I said, that's what I'm talking about, because I sure wanted to know what happened to that person. It was good. So I digress. Let's go ahead and move on to the TV shows that I want to discuss. Okay, so I have to watch the most recent episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville, but I finally ran into somebody that lives here that actually lives for the show. So I was talking to this person on Wednesday, And there's only one reason why I know what specific day it was and everything. Like, I'm going to get into that another day too. But anyway, talking to her, and she was like, she just randomly asked me where was I from. And I told her. She was like, oh, I always wondered what part of Alabama you were from. And I told her, I was like, well, I'm from Montgomery. But coincidentally, I had an ex that was from Huntsville. And I've been to Huntsville like 2 or 3 times. But never, ever since they did all these, you know, revitalizations and everything that you've seen on the show now, all that stuff was not there. Like, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. If you were somebody who visited Atlanta in the 90s or Bessemer and Fairfield and all that stuff, any of the like roads that kind of gave, like, in your mind, like if you were to think, okay, this might be like a questionable area as far as safety is concerned, that's what it gave. Like the main road that was there, I think, I forgot, I just remembered the name of it, then I forgot. But all I know is at the time there was a Rally's, Checkers, or whatever that was on that street, and I forgot what else. But I hadn't seen no Rallies and all that stuff in so long. The only time I've ever been able to get my hands on that, since they took them away from Montgomery, I'm talking about way before they brought them back. I think they brought them back since, but they were gone for a long time. Was when we went to not the Magic City Classic. Was it the Magic City Classic? One year I went to the Magic City Classic, and I was with the ex that was from Bessemer, and when we were done, like, we didn't do none of the tailgating food. Shout out, I don't even want to tell y'all about that. That was a depressing situation. That whole situation was depressing. But anyway, ended up going because I kept telling her, oh my gosh, I want Checkers so bad. I couldn't even think. Like, in my mind, I was like, don't y'all got a Checkers or a Rally's or something? He was like, yeah. And so before we were going to go back to the side of town in Hoover / Bessemer that he lived in, we went all the way somewhere to Checkers. And oh my God, I mean, the only thing that I and everybody in the world pretty much in the United States has, whether they have a Checkers or not, is that they have access to the fries in the freezer. I'm sorry, it don't do no justice to when you going through the drive-thru and getting them. Man, that sandwich was good. The fries was good. Oh my gosh, that sandwich, oh my God. I ain't had no sandwiches so long, I really forgot how it tasted. But anyway, at the time, that was the last time I had ever had that. So, no. What happened was, okay, this is what it was, I think. Hold on. I think I went to Huntsville first. And like I said, they been done with them in Montgomery. So I hadn't seen one in I don't know how long. So I was like, wait a minute. So went over there. They had like two sides or something. It was random how you had to order. So if you are from Huntsville, you know exactly where I'm talking about. But anyway, it looks, well, back then it looked kind of homely and ran down. I went circa 2005 and 2006 and stuff like that. So yeah, it wasn't like freshly paved and all that stuff. Y'all, I'm talking a lot, I'm sorry. But I went to Huntsville, got it from there first. And then I was shocked. I was like, wait a minute, they got a Checkers here? So I ended up going again. But that was the last time I'd been. I ain't been in I don't know how long. I can't even begin to tell y'all the last time I went to a Checkers. But it sounds sad, but man, my friend is from here, right? And when she went to visit her father in Augusta, Georgia, she was going to Checkers every single day for almost every meal because that's how good Checkers tasted. And she said all the fine dining places or whatever, like, you know, higher, you know, stuff that you actually had to sit down in a restaurant, all this other stuff, it didn't compare to what she was eating. So anyway, let me digress. I'm sorry, y'all, my bad. So anyway, when it comes to the Huntsville series, the woman at my job, she was like, oh, well, I was wondering where you were from. And I told her about the situation and all this other stuff. And so she was like, well, how far away is that from where you're from? And so I looked it up and I told her, and she was just like, I really would love to visit, but I would want to do it when like Marceau and Tisha are in town. And then she told me something I ain't know nothing about. And they look, don't crucify me for not knowing. I ain't know because I ain't been paying attention. I ain't been keeping up like I should. I think I actually skipped a couple of episodes this season. So, you know, if it was discussed on the show, I don't know nothing about it. And I wasn't even finna discuss this show on here, but it is what it is. So she said that they're into some kind of, they got some legal troubles going on and all this other stuff. And I was like, what? Like they're being sued or something going on. And I was like, girl, what in the world? So anyway, but yeah, that situation is crazy. I don't like how Marceau is trying to act dismissive when it comes to the remarks and, you know, giving feedback on the Black Expo. I just don't understand. And then, like, you sat up here and you took ideas from Melody, but then you tried to degrade her and belittle her. And my thing is this: despite the fact of what she was doing prior to her exposure on the show, you can't sit up there and try to be like, well, your little t-shirts wasn't doing all of this and that and whatever. Like, okay, it don't even matter. You're bringing up something that's irrelevant. Don't try to say, oh, well, you know, you can't say all of this to these people because it is that and the other. Okay, in my mind, I kind of understand what he's saying a little bit, but I'm only taking that with a grain of salt because there are people who are like me who have just gotten on here and then they built their channel, like the people who've actually been consistent. I ain't been consistent. But anyway, they built their channel from nothing, and then people started following them, and then they created businesses and people actually support them. So don't try to sit up there and belittle and talk down on small business owners. That's a Black-owned business. She already was doing well prior to her doing the t-shirts and her skincare line and all this other stuff. Yes, it's selling, and it is what it is. So the fact that she's getting up there trying to encourage the people, you want to say something negative about that? Like, I cannot do it. And part of me makes me feel sorry for his daughters. I was just hoping that it would have been a situation where, okay, you act ignorant with your wife and you saying crazy stuff to everybody else, but please don't expose your daughters to how ignorant you are and how condescending you are and how much of a male chauvinist you are. Like, I don't like stuff like that. It's crazy to me. I ain't even mean to get on that. But anyway, it's just a lot of stuff going on that show, and I just be looking like, and then I was shocked that Kimmy, and see, I had missed that episode. Like I told y'all, I had skipped some episodes or some more because I was just like, I feel like ain't nothing happened, whatever. Then I saw a preview before I started back watching it where Kimmy and Maurice talking about sex again. And so in his mind, he feel like, oh, well, I just feel like it's a mental thing. Okay, it partially is. Like, if you've never gone through a situation like she's gone through, you don't know what the medications and things might have you feeling. And then she feels some type of way because of how she looks now, because she had to cut her hair off. People don't feel good. Even if them wigs might be looking nice or whatever, don't know about, sometimes people don't be in the mood, even though, and then she's reaching a certain age. Like, some people, once they go through menopause and all this other stuff, all kinds of stuff change. So now you're not finna get the sex you was getting before. So are you gonna start cheating? Like, what is going on? Like, what are we doing? Ultimately, what are we doing? But I feel as though he's being so insensitive yet again, because I thought we already went through this the last time he brought it up, when she was deep off in trying to make this go into remission. Like, she hadn't even really had the cancer treatments started yet. She hadn't even really begun fighting the fight yet. And like, she's being drained. She's going through these treatments, and he over here to my, but what was my penis at this point? And I was just like, anyway, I ain't even mean to get on that. I just can't. I cannot. Another day. I'll talk about it another day. I ain't even want to bring them up. I had 2 more shows to talk about. So back to the 2 shows I wanted to talk about. Which one I want to talk about first? Which one do I want to talk about first? So, Ready to Love, Make a Move. I wanted to talk about that. And it was another show. I don't know why I can't think about it in the moment, but if I can't think about it by the time I get to that point and I'm done talking on this, I'm gonna pause it, because I'm like, it should have came to me, because that threw me off that I even brought that up. So anyway, that particular show, child, this episode that just aired, so I told y'all I'm off this week. And so I woke up and Ashley had gone live. Now, I have to correct myself from what I said last week or whenever I did do a Thoughts Post before, when I was just talking about the show when it first aired, the first episode. I have been following her on social media. I'm just not sure when, but I think for sure, for certain, when I was following her, she just wasn't posting like that, or for some reason I wasn't seeing her post. Might have been during that period of time where she was healing, or I just was in the wrong place at the right time. I mean, in the right place at the wrong time, because I see Vern, I see her stuff all the time. I see where she posts stuff about her kids. I see where she just posts stuff of herself. So I was just like, well, dang, did I never find out what her page was? But I think I did. I think that when she did that interview, or I don't know when, but I've been following her on social media. But anyway, so to the show. So everybody has been placed with somebody by the matchmaker, a different person, okay? Zadia. I don't see it for her still with the two people that she had to choose between. And I just feel like because it seemed as though everybody had to choose between the two people that they went on dates with, that's the only reason why she picked one of the dudes. It was kind of like a lesser of two evils. And I was just like, and then like, once I saw how it was going, I was like, wait a minute, didn't they say it was like 20, 25 men? Like, what are we doing? Like, I understand. I'm guessing that they're trying to deviate from the normal formula in a sense, but like, why even introduce it? Like, oh, we got 25 bachelors over here, you know, waiting to see how it's gonna go for y'all, and then like, then they just disappeared, and I'm like, okay, so what you gonna keep doing, pulling one by one out? Like, I don't know. And then every week has been drastically different. I get to it because like next week, all of them are gonna be dating, being on a blind date with the same one person. So that's going to be interesting. Like, what if 2 of the 3 or 4 of them, 2 out of 3 of them, or all of them start liking him? Like, what? It's going to be a mess. Charisse keep getting into it with Zadia. Zadia went on her date with the new dude. This is what I didn't like about her date. Not the guy. I'm talking about the actual interaction. This is what I didn't like. They went out on a date, trying to get to know one another. Come to find out, they done crossed paths and been at the same place at the same time. Before I forget, I had like a moment of nostalgia when he discussed what he does for a living or whatever, right? I don't remember if he said it, and if he did, I just didn't hear it. But it reminded me of when we were touring colleges, because I keep telling y'all I was in a government funded program before I graduated high school and after I graduated high school and started attending Alabama State University, and I was in it until I graduated. So we would tour colleges. So one of the times that we toured colleges, we went to Louisiana. And of course, we're doing black owned, you know, not black owned, y'all know, historically black colleges. So I think that one of the historically black colleges that we visited, it had a program like heavily surrounded by pharmaceuticals or whatever, right? Pharmacy techs and all that stuff. But the way that they explain their program, y'all, I'm social work all day. That's all I know that I'm supposed to do. And when I get back into it, because I'm trying to speak it into existence, it's going to be what it is. But I'm just looking at the situation. I was just like, wow, like the way that the person who gave us the tour was explaining their curriculum, and like the lab was immaculate. Like every place they showed us, I was just like you were going to be set up if that was your major. You were going to have nice areas to do your work, your research and all that other stuff, nice labs in order to do everything. Like, it was just so nice. And I just could not believe it. Like stuff like that I'm not interested in. Like just saying it out loud, just if you were to just say, okay, this is a major, it wouldn't have, like no nerve endings would have fired off in my brain at all in reference to it, right? But when the person was talking about it, it was like, oh yeah, so we have this. And I was just like, okay. And then they just got to talking about it, and we walked to various places. I was like, wait a minute, wait. So yeah, it was very amazing. So in my mind, y'all, remind me if y'all heard it or not, because I'm debating on if I'm gonna go back and see, because I'm very curious. Because if it wasn't in Louisiana when we saw that school, it was in Texas. Or it could have actually been in both, because they had a lot of amazing programs at all of the schools that we visited. I just can't remember the schools, y'all. It's been a long time. But anyway, but I feel as though Zadia was not even trying to give her interaction with the guy, the new guy that she was given a chance to have a date with, that she had been placed with by the matchmaker, a chance. I'm just like, girl, what is going on? Like, that man straight up told her, oh, well, she was like, oh, well, I could tell you ain't from here because of your accent. Because normally you could hear it. It's some form of fashion. Even if they sound all right, normal or whatever, for it's something, they going to say something that's going to make you be like, all right, you from around somewhere. You from somewhere around here. He don't sound like he from nowhere around there. But he from like Oklahoma, Nebraska, or somewhere, child, like somewhere random. I was like, ooh, I would have never guessed that. But he has spent time and has gone to school and all kinds of other stuff. He's been places like Atlanta and maybe Texas as well, or whatever. I don't forget. But anyway, so they'd actually been in places at the same time. And in her mind, she was just like, oh, yeah. And I mean, said it in his face and was basically like, well, just because there have been a couple of coincidences, that ain't enough to move me. Like, most people would have been like, dang, that's crazy. Like, y'all got major stuff in common. Now, I'm not trying to say that equates to, okay, well, that means he should be able to do the bare minimum when it comes to possibly, really seriously dating him. This is just the getting to know you phase. She was just already kind of writing him off. I was like, girl, what is going on? So anyway, I wasn't really here for the date because she don't really seem like she engages or tries to engage long enough to give these people a chance. It's like it seems like she's constantly trying to find something wrong, whether she realizes it or not. And I just be like, girl, I really be trying to root for you, but you always doing something crazy like this. And then Charisse, like I told y'all last week, I didn't understand why she picked the dude that she did then. And then this week, the person that she was placed with, he is a attorney and he has his own firm and all this other stuff. Like he owns his own, you know what I'm saying? And that's awesome. It's amazing. But there really was no chemistry. It had gotten to a point where it was crickets over there. And so normally she don't go for dudes that already got kids and all this other stuff. And his kids are grown because that man like late 40s, early 50s to mid 50s or something. I think he 50 something. But yeah, I'm just like, girl, they grown. And so she was like, yeah, I usually don't deal with that. Then the dude from last week, he's younger than her, but he got kids. And so then to Ashley. So now we see Ashley interacting with this new dude. And I'm like, I don't know about this. Wasn't really here for it. I mean, it was cool for friendship, but I wasn't really here for it. And so when it came down to it, oh, and then Vernisha, excuse me. Vernisha ended up going out with this guy, and he used to play basketball. And you know what I'm saying? A lot of people, if they weren't in the NBA, you might not have heard of them unless you were like really, really, really into the team that they played for when they were in the States and all this other stuff, because he has played in the States, but a lot of his time was spent overseas, and he just retired like a year and a half ago. And so she starts to dig into his past, trying to figure out like when was his last serious relationship, and he was like, I ain't gonna lie to you, like 2008. Sir, you like early 40s, ain't you? Like, what? He said, oh yeah, I was like 21 back then. And then she was like, well, how long did that last? He said 2 years. And for her, she feels as though he might not know how to date. Like, it might be premature for him to even be out here like that, because he don't even know what he would need to do in order to keep somebody like her. He has traveled and all this other stuff, and so she is excited about that aspect because she does want to be able to travel and go places. She has a bucket list of places that she want to go and all of that, but it ain't really going that way like it need to go. So when it came down to it, towards the end of everything, Zadia ended up sending the dude, I think the dude that she first tried to holler at, which it wasn't gonna work no way, because remember, she came for Burns dude, who is Jabari. He's pretty much the only person whose name I have remembered because he's kind of memorable. And so she gonna break the news to him that, you know, y'all ain't having, you know, we ain't really having the chemistry that we should, you know, everything was cool, but I can tell that you live for Vern more than you do me. And so, you know, he was cool about it. He was like, you know, we can't be friends or nothing like that. He was like, yeah, we can be friends or whatever. And so she ended up picking old boy that she had all this to say about. And I'm just like, girl, I feel sorry. I feel sorry for you. Meaning the guy. I ain't even talking about I feel sorry for her. Hopefully one day she will understand that the things that she is doing is not making sense, because she want to create these contracts and all this other stuff, and it's just stuff that has never worked. And I'm like, dang, didn't she do this on the her season of Ready to Love? Why would you do that again? You tried to do that contract stuff before and it ain't work. Like, my thing is, you do realize that all the stuff that you were doing before, it didn't work. So that's insanity. Why would you continue to keep doing something that's not working? Let's switch it all the way up. Not just go over to this city and then date these people and talk to them or whatever, and that's it. Like, your whole campaign is still the same. You still running your campaign the same way. That don't make no sense. So I don't think she's gonna come out truly successful on this show unless she really decides, okay, let me put my mind to this. Let me, you know, really allow the process to work for me, instead of me doing the most to work against it, because that's ultimately what she's doing, whether she realizes it or not. So, well, her situation, I ain't really here for it. Sharice's situation, I ain't here for it, because she ended up choosing the new dude that's the attorney over the dude that she was dealing with last week. And I'm just like, yet again, I feel like this was just a situation where everybody was forced to pick one or the other, which I don't think she's compatible with either. Now, one thing that I was very, you know, pleasantly, you know, surprised to see, and it was a very nice gesture, was him, you know, having ordered a bouquet of roses and things like that for her. And it was a mixed bouquet. Now, if I think about it, I will put pictures of myself in this part of the video, excuse me, to show y'all that I was one of those people that, from elementary on up until now, I ain't done it in a while, but yeah, I will still do it. I was one of those that would always have flowers in my hair and all that. And I'm the type, I wanted to be the most realistic. And that other flower that he had in there, I don't know why I can't think of it. Is it a violet? Probably not. I don't know why I can't think of what it is. But anyway, but yeah, I loved those, and I used to have that in my hair a lot. I used to have realistic roses in my hair a lot and stuff like that or whatever, right? So the most recent thing I've had was the headband that looked like daisies. But as far as like a realistic looking flower, I ain't done that in a while. But like I said, if I think about it, I will have those in here while this part of the video is playing, so y'all can see what I'm talking about. And please don't come for me. I know I look real dusty in all them pictures. Whoo, child, I look real rough. I look real toe down to the ground. I already know. Don't come for me. So anyway, but yeah, I don't think her situations are going to work out well with him either. He's very successful financially and all of that, and he seems like, and that's the thing, I'm not trying to take nothing away from him. He seems like he's a nice person, but for whatever reason, the conversation was cut short, and all you could hear was the silverware on the plates as they were eating. And she had to kind of try to carry the conversation. And I was like, girl, absolutely not. Like, I don't like stuff like that. Like right now, I got a couple of conversations going on right now on my phone. Because, you know what I'm saying, people like talking to me. I don't know why, but I don't know. Like, I be thinking, oh, ain't nothing else for me to talk about. And they'll come up with something else. So we talking. I'm like, oh, you're interested in that? Okay, cool. So anyway, but I don't see it. Somebody else gonna have to enter the arena at this point in time for me to possibly see that there's gonna be something. It's just a lot with her. And then when it came to Vernisha, of course, she told old boy he had to go on about his business, that play basketball. Even though he seemed cool, he was into her, and he was a nice looking man. And just like the other guy that Sharice was with, he's a nice looking man. The second dude that she's keeping around for right now. But yeah, I can't. But yeah, Vern, she wants to keep her options open, but at the same time, like I said, they had to choose. And so she chose Jabari. And then when it came to Ashley, she chose the first guy that she chose from the first week or whatever over the dude that she went on this most recent date with. Now, a situation happened where Zadia was out and about talking and vibing with the dude that she had this most recent encounter with, that I don't think you need to be wasting this time dealing with her. I don't know. It's just the way she come off. I don't see it. But she ended up calling Sharice in the middle of the night or early in the morning or whatever, asking her to come to the door and open the door. And it wasn't a situation where she was like, hey, I'm so sorry for waking you up. Like, I can't get in though. Like, I'm getting dropped off and I need you to come open the door. I'm confused as to why ain't nobody got no key. Why ain't nobody got no key? And then, you know, people are going, like, is the crew packed up for the night? Nobody was there and you can call one of the crew members? Like, this ain't making no sense. Is this something that y'all created as part of the storyline so that the two of them can continue fighting and stuff? Like, I don't understand. Because then at one point in time, when they were in the process of having to, you know, continue to come down to the end of debating on who they were going to choose, when they were choosing between the two men, she was talking to the dude that Zadia is talking to right now. And her name came up in conversation as she was walking over. And she kind of like ducked off like, oh, I heard my name. All righty then. I don't know if that was a situation yet again where they, you know how sometimes they edit stuff in and it just seemed to happen or whatever. I don't know. But I just was just like, I don't know. Kind of wanted to know, she wanted to know how did the interaction go between the two of them? How did their date go? Oh, one thing that I wasn't here for was Zadia was trying to ask old boy, like, I want to know about your past relationships. And he was like, well, I ain't here for that because that's the past. I've learned from it and I moved on. Now, I kind of get what she's saying, but I feel like if she had worded it a specific way, I feel like what she should have meant in that moment, it wasn't being conveyed. Because why would you need to know, why would you need to have a rundown of his exes and, you know, what all happened with them and all this other stuff? Now, if it's a situation after you've gotten to know the person and y'all are vibing, and like I've told y'all before, the dude that lived 3 hours away, he used to be married. And if we were to get closer, I am going to ask him, you know, if we become serious or something, I'm gonna be like, you know what I'm saying, you know, hopefully this isn't too invasive or whatever, but I would love to, you know, better understand what happened in y'all's dynamic, because y'all are no longer together. You really sat up here and married this person, but y'all are now divorced. Like, what's going on? Was there cheating involved? Like, what was going on? What was there infidelity? Was there infidelity? Was it because she couldn't have a baby? Because he got baby fever right now. Like, Lord, I'm like, oh, well, I probably not need to talk to you because you're doing a lot. Like, I'm trying to figure out what it is. But I feel as though we are not at that point where I would be able to do that. Like, I'm kind of putting the cart before the horse. So, yeah. But, yeah. And then they keep bringing it up. And then it was brought before the matchmaker. And she ended up asking, you know, who was everybody in their room? Who was in their room? Everybody said they were in their room. And then Zadia was like, and then eventually she was like, I, too, was in my room. And I was just like, what was the lie for? And then later on, she came to Cerise and told her, yeah, I wasn't in my room and I apologize for that. But I could tell immediately that when I came to you, when I came to y'all and said, would y'all have an issue with having men in the house and all this other stuff? Nobody had a problem with it but you. So I just didn't know it was that deep and all this other stuff. I don't know. It's just, it seems like it's going to be something that's going to keep going on and on. Part of me is just like, is it that serious? I ain't gonna lie to you. If I would have been in Zadia's position and I was really vibing with somebody, listen to me. This ain't no dig. This is the truth. This is just a fact. You can look it up for yourself. Statistics don't lie. I done heard people from there say it out their own mouths that I have associated with. It is what it is. They are in New Orleans, Louisiana. That is one of the top dangerous cities in the United States of America. After hours, really anytime, even in the daytime, depending on which area of New Orleans you in, it ain't the place to be. It ain't safe. It ain't safe. So it's nighttime. It's after midnight. I'm trying to, you know, if I'm going to do anything, I'm going to try to be inside somewhere safe. So they outside vibing or wherever they at, and he pull up. I think that it should be okay in a common area or whatever for somebody to be able to talk to whoever they're getting to know. As long as it's not disturbing the other ladies because it's a weird hour or whatever, I think that's fine. I think I should be able to go into a sitting area, a common area or whatever, where we aren't being loud and disruptive to talk to my company. You know what I'm saying? As long as they ain't coming and peeking in my room and looking at me, you know what I'm saying? Now, I would make sure to be courteous enough to say, hey, y'all, letting y'all know that somebody might come through here. So, of course, you ain't gonna be able to just walk through naked, like, but I don't even expect them to be like that. I wouldn't even do that. And I like walking around naked and all this other stuff. So if I'm in this experience, I'm not finna do that. Knowing I'm in the house with other women, even though we had the same body parts or whatever, I'm just gonna not be disrespectful towards them. That could be seen as a form of disrespect and just total disregard for the people around me. So I'm not gonna do that. So they wouldn't have to worry about a man seeing them like that or nothing like that. Because more than likely the rooms are far off. And that's why I'm saying if it had been me and it was a situation like that, even if it wasn't New Orleans, but I'm just saying for the sake of the fact that this show is in New Orleans, it's after hours. I should be able to bring somebody in there if I want to. Now, I'm not screwing them. We just going to the common area. We going to the sitting area, far off from where everybody else is. Sorry, now I digress. But I'm just not here for Sharice or Zadia. It just want a lot. I mean, it's not really even that Sharice wants a lot per se. It's just she's beyond hard to please. Zadia is too. And then her delivery makes it worse. And I can't. It seems like Vernisha is super duper focused. And I love that for her. And she's being very meticulous, very careful and all that when it comes to her decision making when it comes to these guys. So I get that. Like, she's really looking at it like, okay, do I see a future with this person? Here's where I am now. Can I see myself here? I really could see it for her. Ashley as well. Even though she wants to have fun with these people or whatever, I know she wants to be serious after everything that went wrong with old boy, which I forgot to mention last week. How you sat up there, told us your name was Alex, and your name ain't nowhere near Alex. I was done. I was like, you said his name was what? And I forgot what she said it was. I was done. I was done. That ain't even that man's name. Child. But anyway, let me pause this. For some reason, I can't think of the last show. I think it was Sisters. My bad. So I finally saw the most recent episode of Sisters, which was, you know, it coming back on from the mid-season, you know, finale and all that stuff. So it's the premiere of it or whatever, right? See, this is why I don't believe nothing until I see it all the way out. Tyler Perry sat up there and tried to make us think that that Fatima got shot. They really sat up there and did the absolute most. Child, I can't. Then Karen is being super petty. And I'm just like, girl, okay, so which is it? And what is going on? Who is the baby daddy? Because y'all doing the most to drag this foolishness out. At this point, is she even pregnant? Because why he supposedly got paperwork, Aaron, and she done sent him paperwork. But Fatima said that the paperwork is proving that as of right now, there was no DNA even submitted for Zach. So it's not his baby. And I'm like, I just need the paperwork to be right. Like, I need for it to be 100%. He needs to go ahead and submit to that DNA test. I don't understand. And I'm sick of all these people in this day and age that have a baby and don't get no DNA test off rip. At this point, I don't even care if you married to these folks and you think you happily married. Get that paperwork. Make sure it's in there. I don't care. You don't know what could happen tomorrow. Your wife, even if you married this person, you could be happily married to me. What if I lose my life? What if I bleed out unexpectedly, have an infection out of nowhere after 3 days of me having this baby? Then what? What if something pop off? Some like random situation. Like anything can happen. But despite the fact that we married or whatever, I'm just saying I have seen stranger things happen. I have worked at DHR. I'm just saying I've seen people who were the father of children. The child was taken from them. If y'all know about RC, look that up. That was an Alabama case. That is a terrible situation. And I hate the fact that I'm from Alabama because of it. Because that's why a whole lot of people had to get their lives together when it came to social work because of RC. Don't nobody have time for the foolishness. So basically, if you don't know about RC that's the initials for a child that was placed in the care of the state of Alabama a long time ago when he had a biological father that he could have been living with and all of that. All they had to do was go to the house and all this other stuff. Well, instead of just, looking around, trying to put him in relative placement, they put him in foster care or whatever. They did the most. The daddy had to do all this stuff, and it ended up being them versus RC and all this other stuff. It's just like, it was just too much. It's like, once I looked into that, because you always have to read up on that, you're eventually gonna find out about all that. When I tell y'all I sat down and read up on that, y'all would have thought I was reading an amazing novel. I was done. I was like, this was Alabama. Alabama is the reason why this is nationwide. Because of their negligence and their foolishness and all of this. Just doing the most. Child, I was done. But anyway. So yeah, I'm tired of Karen. I'm really, really tired. I think I heard some rumblings about the person who plays her. What's her name? Ebony Obsidian. I think she's leaving. Sisters, I don't know. Maybe I misheard. I heard that a good little while ago, though. I don't know how true that is. Have y'all heard that? Okay. I'm tired of child, whatever the African man name is. He done got on my last nerve. What does this person's sexual orientation have to do with whether or not they actually are a murderer or not? If they are somebody who is a criminal or not? Why you sat up there and lied to that woman and tried to tell her, oh, well, I'm going to have these services available for you and for him. And the way you were saying it, you made it seem like the lawyer was going to be there. The lawyer didn't show up. Maurice tried to go in there and turn himself in on behalf of her so that she didn't go down for it. Because why would you do that? Like, she actually took pride in her job. So why would she do that? We all know that Q is a scammer. I'm trying to figure out why is the man who tried to roll up on Danny, why is he so gung-ho about putting them in jail? Why is he so gung-ho about it? What else is to the story that we ain't seeing? Because first of all, they black. Like you. Wouldn't you want it to end up being something different so that fewer black people were not put behind bars? That disgusts me. That makes me sick to my stomach because there are people that are like that in real life and I ain't here for it. Even the person that was over him, that is white, was like, come on now, they didn't do it. Like, I even know they ain't do it. If we put them in front of other people, they would have to, figure out, you would have to bring way more evidence than what you have. Where's Q? All this other stuff. At this point, he was just like, why don't you release them folks? Like, I could tell he lying. I know that that man said, I know that they, meaning Sabrina included, didn't do it. But you over here relying on Q. He's a master manipulator. He got you. Feel embarrassed. Just throw him in jail and be done. I'm tired in my spirit. And now, Sabrina that got hemmed up. Now she finna sit up here and be in a contract, possibly with this man. He talking about as soon as you accepted the money for the bail and all this other stuff, that is an agreement. And from where I'm from in my country, that means that if I'm spending all this money on you and your family and all this other stuff, that means that we supposed to get married. And yeah, you supposed to bust it wide open for me. I was like, you know what? Because in her mind, she was just like, oh, so what am I supposed to do? What are you expecting? Like, what repayment? Well, you think I'm going to have sex with you? He was like, yes, and be one of my many wives. And she was like, what? Wait a minute, bail. But what are you talking about? Oh, Lord. I hate how they have her be so ditzy acted. I can't stand it because she's not like that. She's not like that in real life. And then Danny, some dude that worked with her, he parks next to her every day or somewhere near her, and he hears all her conversation. He done rolled up on her. He's interested in her. He done asked her out for drinks and all this other stuff. And so she was like, no, I'm good. I have a man. And so he over here naming off her friends' names, clear as day. Naming off Preston's name, clear as day. So you're coming off as a stalker. You're coming off as a creep. You're doing too much. And despite the fact that she lied, why would you say any of these things? Child, so anyway, he over here like, look, the invitation is open. I'm going to be over here until like around 10. So go ahead and stop by. And so she was like, I said I have a man. I'm good where I'm at. Like, I can't. He was doing too much. Everybody is eventually going to go over to Karen's house again like they normally have to do to go and try to talk some sense into her because she's acting real reckless. So after we find out that Tyler Perry lied in our faces, he was playing in our faces trying to make it seem like this helped a shot for Tima when she didn't. She was envisioning doing something like this in her mind. Zach was there. He was like, all right, ladies, we're not going to do this, whatever, whatever. Fatima actually tried to apologize to her for walking under her house. And like I said, Karen being petty. And it's just, I was just like, Lord, please, somebody please do something. I'm sick of them. I'm sick and tired. I'm sick and tired. I'm sick and tired. Then we saw Gary talking to Hayden in his feelings. And I'm just like, sir, I don't understand. Now, I done had some amazing sex in my life, but I ain't never been so blinded by amazing sex that I was like, you know what? I'm in love. I need to be married to this person right now. Like, oh, a fleeting thought? That's completely different from you over here telling me, well, maybe I did make a mistake by marrying this person who is obviously coming out of the woodwork and working you. You're dumb. Hayden, you're dumb. When I tell you, I cannot wait until something comes about where Fatima or somebody tells him that he got worked over. I can't wait. Because he over here trying to have second thoughts about going through with an annulment. And he was like, well, we were talking and we were discussing it and maybe we need to wait like 6 months. You gonna let time slip away from you and then you don't have a prenup, dummy. You don't have a prenup. The little bit of money that you do have gonna be hers. You're dumb. And don't let her get pregnant. Don't let you be dumb enough to sit up there and then once she acts as if she's not mad at you anymore, you don't put a condom on or she puts holes in it and pop it and get pregnant. Oh, you gonna be paying hand over fist. Cause you're dumb. Like I cannot. Anyway, I think that was the gist of what I wanted to talk because I just wanted to vent because these people be getting on my nerves on these shows. Y'all, thank y'all for listening to me. I really appreciate it. I went live the other day to tell y'all some more developments about what happened as a part 2 of sorts, kind of, to what I had already told y'all about when I went live the other day. So, yeah, it was a mess, but it is what it is. So, anyway, y'all, I'm about to try to find some more things to watch. I might watch the most recent episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville. But I'm going to keep myself busy. I hope y'all have an amazing weekend. Bye.